Welcome to the show. It's been a while. Let's get right into it. Virtual truancy. It's always happening in America. It's always happening in every state in this country. All 50 states have truancy laws that specifically state your child's to be in school, otherwise with an excused absence. If they don't have an excused absence, then that means they're truant. And the truancy laws and the laws regarding whether you can get credit, driver's license, all that stuff, it applies just like you were here. And in the state of Massachusetts, they're charging people with neglect over kids' online no-shows. It's happening in Massachusetts, and it may happen to your state also. Unless the parents of that state can change their child and say, look, I'm a parent. I am a parent of my child. I have to make sure he gets the best education he can get. If you decide for your child online school, these are the requirements. They have to be in the class every day. They have to do their work every day. They gotta do their half-hour Zoom classes every day, whether it's Zoom, Google Class, virtual Google Classroom. It doesn't matter. You are mandated. Your child is mandated by the school to be showing up for their Zoom classes. It's not an option for your child. It is mandatory. Seriously mandatory. And if you think it's a joke, this is not a joke. Just ask the state of Massachusetts. And CPS agents have been interrogating parents over virtual truancy. And even a 7th grader who was almost last month was arrested over virtual truancy for missing his Zoom classes. What can you do about this? Well, parents, you need to make sure that your child is at remote learning every single day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's not an option for your child. 2, if your child has a doctor's appointment on the day of remote learning, you need to call the school. Actually, you need to just pull them out, go to the doctor's appointment, and then present the school with a doctor's note via email. No visitors. No visitors because of COVID. The thing here you must understand is that no one's here to scare you. They're here to help you. They're here to get you through this. And yet we have to make sure that this doesn't happen again. We don't need CPS involved for neglect. There's no abuse. I mean, what you could do is charge the parent with contributing to delinquency of minors. And that's what's going to happen. And this is from the Foundation for Economic Education, or FEE, FEE. As remote learning creates more of this distance between school and districts and students, school and state officials are claiming to control however they can, sending CPS agents to investigate charges of neglect in homes where children missed Zoom classes last spring, imposing child well-being checks in homes this fall. Government, schools, and related agencies are panicking over parents having increased influence of the child's care and education in the pandemic. I mean, this is from the Boston Sunday Globe. It described the experiences of several parents who were interrogated by CPS agents last spring when their children missed remote classes and failed to submit homework assignments and missed a pandemic related school shutdowns. Some parents didn't have internet access and were blindsided by the CPS investigations of virtual truancy. This Latina mother, who was featured in the Globe story, her name is M. Gilles, who, like many parents last spring, scrambled to care for her children and continue to work. Tremendous appeal and uncertainty, according to the Globe. She said, then in June, Quillis was stunned to receive a call from the state's Department of Children and Families. The schools accused Quillis of neglect. She was told to get 7-year-old missed classes and homework assignments. A neglect charge, if sustained, it could lead to removing a child from their home, which means foster care. School districts across the country have a history of activating CPS parents who stray the district's command and control. The report by Nagner and the HuffPost revealed that schools increasingly use child protective services as a weapon against parents, especially who lack the means to fight back. I mean, if you're going to do legal action, don't be calling CPS and saying, hey, we need you to go check up on the child who's been to school. Just charge the parent with contributing to delinquency of minors. Truancy has been a trigger for CPS investigation. Now virtual truancy seems to accelerate these practices during the pandemic. Because just typical truancy cases, it's often prompted by factors. The Huffington Post created an article back in 2019 called The Human Cost of Kamala Harris's War on Truancy, found that strict truancy laws and enforcement terrorized families with parents being pulled out of their homes and handcuffed and sent to jail. That was because of the truancy sweeps. If the police find that your child's not in school, you or the child could be arrested for contributing to delinquency of minors. That article revealed then Democratic presidential candidate and now Democratic Vice President nominee Kamala Harris was responsible for heightened aggression toward parents. And the truancy child could face a fine of $25 more or 1 year in jail. So why do schools use child protective services as a weapon for against parents? We'll give you the answer when we come back. So today we're talking about virtual truancy. We looked at a Boston Globe article which suggested that schools use child protective services as a weapon. But the question is, why do they need child protective services? This article from the Hutchison Gear report back 2 years ago would say the same thing. This is from, it all started with Tiffany Banks, who sat in her living room in a ruby red wall decorated family photographs behind her. Listen, all the ways of her life. And this was the part of their series, Twice Abandoned, How Schools and Child Welfare Systems Fail Kids from Foster Care. Her 6-year-old son had been removed from her care for more than a month. She was forced to close an in-home childcare business. She was temporarily displaced from her preschool teaching job, which she had held for 17 years. Her teenage daughter refused to talk to the 6-year-old, blaming him for the family's troubles. In the school, one of the boy enrolled in class with students' disabilities. School employees in most states have legal obligation to report any suspicion of abuse and neglect, and they can play a critical role in helping to keep children out of harm's way. But nearly 3 dozen interviews were conducted by by the Hechinger and Huffington Post, parents, lawyers, advocates, child welfare officials said that schools occasionally wield this authority in inappropriate ways. They're fed up with what they see as obstinate parents who don't agree with special education for the service for a child, or disrupt kids to make learning difficult. They sometimes use the threat of child protective investigation, or CPI, to strong-arm parents to complying with the school's wish to transfer their children to a new school. That's not right. In every state, if you have a school, your school system has to provide the special education services. You can't just be calling child protective services and just say, your child's disruptive, we're going to have them sent home. Send them to foster care. Well, this goes back to Banks. Her first brush with DCFs came after the school sent her son to the hospital because he was acting out. He said they wanted him to receive a psychiatric evaluation. Okay? She said Banks refused because she already had an appointment with the doctor that following week. That second time the casework investigator said it was because her son's doctor had prescribed him a new medication and the school had not been properly notified. The third investigation came after a middle school child wrote a paper that Banks was told to contain troubling content. That one time, she gave her youngest son a spanking for running away from school. After he told school employees about it the next day, he was removed from her home and for more than a month sent to live with her sister-in-law. And after that, Banks said she was investigated for letting her middle child go to school with a bad haircut he'd given himself. Banks said she was told by an investigator it could amount to emotional abuse. The spokesperson for the Chicago Public Schools wrote an email that the agency cannot comment on specific cases that employed. Comment on specific cases but that employees that take seriously the responsibility mandated reporters. This goes on and on and on and on here. You don't need to be getting child services involved in this. For truancy. You can get child services involved for abuse, neglect, yes. But you can't get child services involved for virtual truancy or truancy. For that matter, if you start doing that, parents are going to be upset with the school system. That's why I need to put education back on the table in the show, because we need to teach children that it's not okay to skip school. And it's also not okay for schools to be calling CPS or DCFS for truancy. That is something the police can charge parents for, contributing to delinquency of minors. That's the charge the police can do. When you charge the child for neglect, the judge is going to ask the child, was there abuse in the home? No. Did your teachers abuse him? No. Schools can just be falsifying reports. If that happens, the school could be ordered to pay the parents a lot of money. And according to this, there were over almost 3,000 abuse and neglect investigations last year. In East New York, low-income neighborhoods in Brooklyn compared with the 255 in the affluent and far more populous Upper East Side. And so what can you do as a parent to make sure that your child doing homeschool? Like I said before, you need to make sure that your child is on the computer during their Zoom classes every single day, 5 days a week. Also, you need to make sure their child completes their homework online. Also, for parents, if your child's computer does not work because of technical issues, you need to go to the school up front, you need to call the school, or go up to the school up front and politely tell them, hey, my son or daughter's computer was not working and has issues. Can you please come take a look at it? If they do, that's okay. If they don't, let's say like, can you wait till like after spring break, or like after spring break, or after Christmas, after holiday break or whatever? Then wait for that. And if your child was absent but had completed the homework, just email the school and for them to make a mistake. We don't need children being involved in truancy cases. We got to keep the kids in school all day, every day. Coming up, COVID cases. Back now with some COVID cases. Look at the latest. As of today. As of Tuesday. As of today. We're now like 500 cases, close to 24,000 cases. Total cases. That makes it now up to 98. 21,000 recovered. 2 new deaths. And 21,381 recovered. 39 ICU. Currently hospital 132. 3,463. The deaths are 2 cases. 472 total. 98 suspect positive. New cases 3, 46 new cases, 99 confirmed positive, 17,502, 5926, probable cause. Total cases 148. State cases, no new state cases, 4270 total, 1926. That brings the total up now to 21,536. Total cases. And as I always said before in this broadcast, and I'll say it again, you must make sure that you wear a mask every single day. Like this. It cannot be like this or like this. The only time you cannot wear these is if you're eating or drinking. That's the only time that you cannot wear these. The only time. All stores, all places, they mandate you wear masks. If you don't, you will be escorted out. Same thing with riding the bus or transportation systems. Lyft. You need to wear a mask and not stay in the front seat, sit in the back seat. Buses. You need to be wearing face masks, and they can provide face masks for you every day. And to prevent the spread, you have to wash your hands every single day before eating and after eating to prevent germs from spreading. The cases are going up every now and then, and nobody is doing anything about it. No one's following the guidelines. No one's following it. That's why I wear this mask every day to tell people, hey, keep calm and stay 6 feet away. This is a very, very, very important message here. And yet, words on masks, what is some big deal about that? It's not a big deal to start wearing masks. We have constitutional rights. That mask rule that my work provided was unconstitutional. Meaning it violated my First Amendment right to wear whatever kind of mask I want. No employee No employee shall be banning masks that have words on it or hateful speech. This is not hateful speech. This is very, very important. This is very, very important. This is a very, very important message. I told my boss saying, hey, this is unconstitutional. And like, she's like, yeah, I understand that, but they provide mask uniforms. There is no but here. When people say but, they imply that they say, yeah, I understand this, but I understand that, but forget everything you just said. It just means forget everything you just said. I'm going to not say what I really think. It's just that there is no but here. My work needs to admit they made a mistake. Now, Thanksgiving's coming up on Thursday, and what can you do to prevent this during this pandemic? Well, the CDC has some guidelines. Let's start with the travel. It may increase your chance of getting the spread of COVID-19. Postpone challenge staying home is the best way to protect yourself and others this year. If you're considering traveling on Thanksgiving, like to Oklahoma, Tennessee, Idaho, wherever, the important question to ask yourself any moments beforehand is that these questions can help you decide what's best for you and your family. The first question: are you, someone in your household, or someone will you be visiting, increased risk of getting very sick with COVID-19? Number 2, are the cases high, increasing your community for your destination? You can check the CDC's COVID data tracker for the latest number of cases, or for your state. We'll have that for you on Give Me a Break's website. That's jkermit67.wixsite.com/givemeabreak. Number 3, are hospitals in your community or your destination overwhelmed with patients who have COVID-19? You can check your state and local health department websites. Number 4, does your home or destination have requirements and restrictions for travelers? You can check the state and local requirements before you travel. Number 5, during the 14 days before you travel, have you or those are risen to have close contact with people they don't live with? Ask your family about that question. 6, do your plans include traveling by bus, train, or whichever might make staying 6 feet apart difficult? And number 7, are you traveling with people who don't live with you? If the answer to this question is yes, you should consider making other plans, such as hosting a virtual gathering or delaying your travel. It's important to talk with the people you live with and your family and friends about the risk before traveling for Thanksgiving or for Christmas or whatever. But if you say, oh no, I'm going to take the risk, I'm going to go travel. If you're going to travel, here are tips. First, check travel restrictions before you go. Next, get your flu shot before you travel. Always wear a mask in public areas when using public transportation and when around people you don't live with. Stay 6 feet apart from anyone who does not live with you. Wash your hands often and use hand sanitizer. You can bring hand sanitizer with you. Avoid touching your mask, eyes, nose, and mouth. Bring extra supplies such as masks and hand sanitizer. Know when to delay your travel. Everyone can make Thanksgiving dinner but wear a mask. Wear a mask over your nose, mouth, secure under your chin. Make sure the mask fits snugly against the sides of your face. And wear a mask with 2 or more layers to help protect yourself and others. Remember that flu symptoms may be able to spread COVID-19 or flu. Keep it 6 feet tall, about 2 arms length from others, especially important people who are at higher risk of getting very sick. Wash your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. Keep hand sanitizer with you at all times. Use hand sanitizer with at least 60% alcohol. If you're going to attend a gathering, if you choose to attend a gathering, you need to bring food, drinks, plates, cups, and essentials. Next, wear a mask and safely store your mask while eating and drinking. Avoid going in and out of areas where food is being prepared or handled, such as the kitchen. Use single-use objects like salad dressing, condiment packets, and dispose items like food containers, plates, and utensils. If you're going to have a Thanksgiving gathering, have a small outdoor meal with family and friends within the community. Limit the number of guests, no more than 10 people. Have conversations with guests ahead of time to expect expectations for celebrating dinner. Clean and disinfect frequently touch surfaces and items between use. If celebrating indoors, bring in fresh air by opening windows and doors if possible. You can use a window fan, one of the open windows to blow air out of the window. It will pour fresh air through the other open windows. Limit the number of people in food preparation areas. Have guests bring over their own food and drink. If sharing food, have one person serve the food and use single-use objects like plastic utensils. consider other Thanksgiving activities, schedule time virtually, have people share recipes. You can just watch television, day parades, sports, movies at home. I'd recommend Spider-Man. Nah, just joking. Just get a good movie. Find a fun game to play, and other activities, just participate in just fun activities. That's all that you need to know, and that's all for Decision Gaming Break Tuesday. We'll see you Gaming Break Friday. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Please take care of yourself and each other. Good night, everyone.